Hello and welcome. I'm your host and speaker Mohan, and I'm Associate Software Engineer at Infometry. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. In today's webinar, I will be talking about transitioning career into MuleSoft. Please feel free to drop your questions on the topic or share your struggles and experience during this live session. We will answer your queries through chat, so let's start the session. This session is organized by Infometry. We are a pure play data analytics company based out of Fremont, California, with our offshore development center in Bangalore, India. We came into inception back in 2010, and since then we have been offering domain-specific analytics solutions for high-tech, energy, life sciences, retail, manufacturing, and finance customers. Infometry has been an engineering and consulting services partner for companies like Informatica, Matillion, Snowflake, Tableau, Adaptive Insights, Looker, etc. In addition to the services, we have also developed more than 15 cloud connectors for IICS. One mentioned under Blue Blocks are developed and owned by us, and the rest all are developed by us only for organizations like Informatica, SAP, Calidus, etc. We have developed state-of-the-art analytics solution called InfoFiscus, which can be hooked to any on-prem or cloud CRM, ERP, or planning applications. InfoFiscus is 100% cloud-based pre-built analytics software developed using open architecture. InfoFiscus comes in three different flavors: finance, supply chain, and sales and marketing analytics. So that's our quick introduction. Now let's move to our today's agenda. Getting started with today's topic on transitioning career into MuleSoft, I will discuss my experience of switching from being a Java developer to a MuleSoft developer. Coming to my background, I have 1.5 years experience of developing Java applications using the Spring framework, where I used to develop APIs using Spring Boot. The interaction with database is handled by Hibernate ORM, and the API endpoints were consumed by front-end applications, mostly React-based, and even by other web services or APIs. So this is all about my background. Now coming to MuleSoft in general, it is a Java-based enterprise service bus built on top of Spring Framework. It is used to integrate various applications and allow them to communicate each other. MuleSoft offers features where you can design, develop, test, deploy, manage, and secure APIs. It provides a one-stop solution, and that is Anypoint platform, to utilize the features for solving the integration problems. Under Anypoint platform, Design Center is used to create API specification using RAML. Exchange is a kind of marketplace to discover various published assets like API specifications, connectors, templates, etc. To develop integrations, MuleSoft provides a development environment called Anypoint Studio, where you can drag and drop the connectors into Mule flows. These connectors are useful to connect with external source systems like database, CRM or ERP or any cloud applications. I will be discussing more about the connectors in my upcoming slides. Management Center is often used to manage, secure, govern, and deploy the APIs. You can enforce policies like authentication, rate limiting, CORS, client ID enforcement, etc. to your APIs. Mule applications can be deployed on both on-premises and Cloud Hub. You can deploy any Mule application on Cloud Hub, which is provided by MuleSoft using the Runtime Manager. MuleSoft offers various integration styles. Most applications adopt API-led connectivity, where APIs are split into three types. They are System APIs, Process APIs, and Experience APIs. System APIs are used to connect with the external systems like database directly. Process APIs are meant to execute the business logic, and Experience APIs are used for exposing the API endpoints to other web services for consumption. You can also schedule the flows to run at specific time and trigger them based on the condition. In addition to it, you can extract the data from source, transform it, and load to the target with ETL integration style. Also, JMS or messaging service for publishing and consuming the messages or topics. Now, why I made the transition? What are the prerequisites to learn MuleSoft? Let me share few interesting things that I have observed during this transition. To begin with, coming from Java background, I felt that MuleSoft is more developer friendly. It requires minimal coding. In order to connect with any external system, develop any integration or an API, you just need to drag and drop the required connector and configure them. That's it. You are only required to code for transforming the data. An expression language called DataWave is used to achieve this. In addition, it provides excellent connectivity with any external systems like database, CRM, or any ERP or cloud applications. So you can quickly develop the Mule applications. And the transition to MuleSoft will be a lot easier if you're aware of Java or any other object-oriented programming concepts and data formats like JSON, CSV, XML, web services like REST and SOAP-based APIs, having some basic knowledge on API endpoints, request methods, response status codes, headers, query params, etc., and interacting with external data source systems. Now, based on my observation, MuleSoft as a career choice can really help you grow in your professional career. You will learn MuleSoft as a platform and all underlying integration concepts and their practical understanding. Additionally, you as a MuleSoft expert will be an attractive resource in the job market. Demand for MuleSoft professionals is very high and in the market, and it is continuously growing. Once you gain confidence in MuleSoft, you can start your programming career as a developer and grow towards architect, step by step with time and experience. I have observed few differences between the Java and MuleSoft in terms of API development. To begin with IDEA or development environment, I have used Eclipse and IntelliJ IDEA mostly for Java application development. In case of MuleSoft, it's Anypoint Studio. For project scaffolding or initial project setup, Spring Initializer is being used for Java. For MuleSoft, it is done by importing the YAML from Design Center. As I mentioned earlier, you can create any API specification or design APIs in the Design Center of Anypoint platform. Same, you can import that in the Anypoint Studio. In Java, we need to define classes and interfaces for implementing any functionality. Whereas in MuleSoft, you just need to drag and drop the required connectors from the Mule palette available in the Anypoint Studio and configure them. You can also add connectors hosted on Exchange as well. As I mentioned earlier, it requires minimal coding. You may only require to write the DataWave scripts for transforming the data, like converting the data from one format to another format. In Java, taking the best practices into account, we require to define classes in separate layers, their controller layer, service layer, and repository or DAO. In case of MuleSoft, API-led connectivity approach is being used. For database interaction in Java, I have used Hibernate for object-to-relation mapping. In contrast, I am using database connector in MuleSoft for interacting with the database. For enforcing any API policies like authentication, rate limiting, CORS, client ID enforcement, or any other policies, I have used Spring Security in Java, where I need to write the code and define the classes or interfaces. But for the MuleSoft, Anypoint platform provides you the gateways under API management to enforce policies and secure APIs. You can apply policies for any Mule application deployed on Cloud Hub directly through API management. For connecting with external systems or APIs in Java, I require to make use of external libraries or develop code from the scratch. But in case of MuleSoft, I just need to configure the connector. So I feel that MuleSoft is a lot easier to develop APIs or any integrations as compared to Java. Now let me share my MuleSoft learning path. To begin with, I had internal KT sessions on MuleSoft platform basics by our MuleSoft development team. I have explored MuleSoft training platform hosting few self-paced courses and also instructor-led courses to begin your career with Mule. In addition to it, I have gone through MuleSoft documentation to learn about connectors and data wave expression language. I have also followed some YouTube and online articles for hands-on practice. I have also done some POCs and demo projects like performing CRUD operations with database and Salesforce, migrating data from NetSuite to Salesforce, etc. You can also focus on certifications like MuleSoft Certified Developer and MuleSoft Certified Architect, which requires you to attempt a virtual exam that takes around 2 hours. You can get more information on it from the training platform. As I mentioned earlier, you can perform most of the integration tasks or operations in Mule using connectors. There are many built-in connectors provided by MuleSoft, which are available on any point exchange. If there aren't any connectors available for your business problem, you can build your own custom connector for your use case. But MuleSoft always recommends that connector should be generic for most of the use cases. MuleSoft provides Mule SDK, which stands for Mule Software Development Kit. It is easy to develop custom connectors, sometimes referred as extensions or modules. It uses Extensions API, that is a package, to interact with Mule runtime. Mule SDK comes in two flavors. They are Java SDK, which uses Java, and XML SDK that uses XML. In my case, after understanding the basics of MuleSoft, I have gone through Mule SDK, specifically Java SDK from official documentation, and understood that how these connectors were built and working at background, say behind the scenes. Since Mule ESB is built on top of Spring Framework, these connectors were using Java internally to communicate with external systems and perform any operation. In Mule 3 or before, Connector Development Kit is used for developing custom connectors. But in Mule 4, which is the latest version, Mule SDK is being used. The advantage of Mule SDK are you can quickly develop the Mule connectors, and the connectors are decoupled from the Mule runtime internals. So it assures consistency among Mule components and also from other connectors. Mule SDK is a feature rich as it provides wide variety of capabilities for connector developers. Some of the key features are it is annotation based that makes use of extensions API to interact with the Mule runtime. It supports dynamic configurations where parameter values can be an expression. Most common use cases are multi-tenancy, where credentials or other settings might change based on the user. Also, having dynamic endpoints is one more use case for the dynamic configurations. The SDK supports the creation of connectors that join and create a new transaction in a Mule flow, including source and operation executions that work as a unit. So if a problem occurs inside the flow, all components participating in the transaction will be rolled back their execution as an unit. All operations with the transaction are rolled back so that no one part results in the partial completion. By default, all operations are blocking, which allows you to run only one operation at a time. But Mule SDK, you can have a non-blocking operations where multiple operations can run concurrently. As mentioned in the official documentation, Mule 3 has a few class loading issues where modules were not isolated from each other. They were not isolated from the Mule runtime and the Mule applications. For instance, in Mule 3, if two or more connectors used same library of different versions, it led to class loading problems with confusing error messages like class not found exception. If you're an obsolete beginner to MuleSoft, you might not get few points mentioned earlier, but don't worry, they will make more sense once you start with MuleSoft integrations. Now coming to Java SDK, the modules or connectors are implemented using Java classes. Most significant classes are extension, configuration, connection provider, connection, parameter, and component that includes sources, operations, routers, and scopes. The entry point for building a Mule module is the extension annotated class. This class is used to export all the module functionality and all the elements associated with it. Now configurations are type of classes which takes some set of parameters that affect the behavior of a connector or module. Sources and operations depend upon a configuration for parameters that determine their behavior. Example, a database connector requires basic parameters like host, port, username, password, schema, and JDBC driver details to interact with the database. However, some connectors can work on their own without configuration as well. There is no requirement to declare a configuration for a module, but you can declare as many as you need. Different configurations might provide a different set of parameters and specify a set of operations and sources that are only available when using that configuration. For an example, Salesforce connector has multiple configurations for authentication and uses different set of parameters for each kind of authentication. Like basic authentication might be having username, password, and token for authentication, and for other configuration like OAuth, it requires client ID, client secret, access token, refresh token, and some other parameters. Now, before moving to connection providers, let me brief components. Components are the key to the functionality of any module. Given a set of parameters, they can be executed to produce or alter messages in a flow. Sources and operations are the most common components in a module. Now, these operations are the components that process an incoming message and generate a result. Now, these sources are components that receive or generate new messages to be processed by the Mule runtime. Now, coming to connection provider, it is a module element in charge of handling connections which are created from a configuration. Like the configurations, connection providers depend upon a connection in order to be executed. And this connection object holds critical information like access token, refresh token, and some other attributes for connecting with any external system or API. Also, connections used by operations and sources are provided by the connection provider. These connection providers are bound to configurations. Configurations can have none, one, or many connection providers that create different type of connections. For example, one connection provider can provide both HTTP and HTTPS connections. Parameters are the commonly used element in the module and mostly used on operations, sources, configurations, and connection providers. They represent configurable elements that accepts the values for elements to execute. They can be either static values or dynamic values. So the dynamic values are given using the data view expressions. Now coming to the secure connections like OAuth 2, it can be handled using the annotations like authorization code or client credentials grant type. The prerequisites for developing any Mule connectors are you need the Java Development Kit 8 and the Maven 3.3.9 or later versions. Additionally, you require Mule extensions Maven plugin to generate the project. You can use any IDE like Eclipse or IntelliJ of your wish to develop any connector. Now, I have developed two Mule connectors using Java SDK. Since I am from Java background, I have worked with this Java SDK to create the custom Mule connectors. The first connector takes address as a parameter and returns geographical coordinates such as latitude and longitude. The second connector interacts with the Google Drive and performs file listing and insertion operations. Actually, the Google Drive Mule connector with all the features is already available on Exchange, but I have implemented my own version of it just for learning purpose. As you can observe that it's a very high level overview on Java SDK or Mule SDK in general. However, it is not necessary to learn Mule SDK before starting your journey with MuleSoft. But you will gain a deeper understanding of how the Mule connector works at the background. You can also easily correlate with Java SDK if you are coming from Java background or aware of object-oriented concepts. What I gained during my transition from a Java developer to a MuleSoft developer, I gained a wide range of skills and knowledge related to APIs and integrations. Some of the key skills and knowledge I acquired include API development and management. I learned how to design, build, and manage APIs using MuleSoft's Anypoint platform. Integration expertise. I gained a deep understanding of how to integrate different systems and data sources using MuleSoft. REST and SOAP web services. I gained experience in working with REST and SOAP web services and learned how to integrate these services with the MuleSoft. Next, data mapping and transformation. I became proficient in mapping and transforming data using DataView. Now I could able to convert data from one format to another format. Next, security and compliance. I gained an understanding of how to ensure the security and compliance of an integrations and APIs using MuleSoft's built-in security features. By acquiring these skills and knowledge, I have become a well-rounded MuleSoft developer with a strong foundation in API development, integrations, and data management. I'm confident that these skills will serve me well in my future career and help me to continue delivering value to my clients and employer. So as a MuleSoft developer, I have gained hands-on experience working on various demo projects considering the real-world scenarios. Some of my notable projects and experience include successful implementation of an integration project for migrating NetSuite customers' data to Salesforce using my MuleSoft API-led approach. This project involved integrating NetSuite ERP and Salesforce CRM systems, improving data flow and reducing manual intervention, which has a capability of improving the overall operational efficiency. And the second one, I have designed and implemented a robust and scalable pub-sub model, which is popularly known as publisher and subscriber, for integrating Salesforce with on-premises databases like MySQL and SQL Server using messaging services that is IBM MQ. And I participated in a MuleSoft training program where I gained experience working on real-world projects and learning from senior MuleSoft professionals to apply best practices in integrations. And this provided me with an opportunity to apply my knowledge and skills in practical setting and make a meaningful impact. And this experience have allowed me to showcase my skills and expertise in MuleSoft and making an impact for organizations as well. I'm proud of the work I have done and looking forward to continuing the use of MuleSoft to drive innovation and solve complex integration challenges. MuleSoft fits into my future career plans as it is a rapidly growing platform in the integration domain and offers a wide range of opportunities for growth and career advancement. As a MuleSoft developer, I can leverage my expertise in building and managing APIs, integrations to solve complex business problems and also drive innovation. By continuing to specialize in MuleSoft, I aim to grow my skills and expertise in the platform to help organizations solve complex integration challenges. I also plan to pursue MuleSoft certifications to demonstrate my competence and stay up to date with the latest developments in the field. In the long term, I see myself taking on leadership roles in MuleSoft projects and contributing to the broader MuleSoft community through knowledge sharing and collaboration. I also plan to stay engaged with the MuleSoft ecosystem by attending conferences, meetups, participating in user groups, and also contributing to the open source projects. Overall, MuleSoft has the potential to help me achieve my career goals by providing me with the opportunities for growth, impact, and recognition in the integration domain. I would like to encourage you to start using the MuleSoft and upskill your technical knowledge of an application integration process using the MuleSoft. Finally, we have reached the end of our presentation. I'm now open to Q&A. Please feel free to post your questions.
Hi, are we going to like learn the Anypoint Flex Gateway also?
Sorry, come again?
Flex Gateway, Anypoint Flex Gateway.
No. Here, this is completely on the transitioning, my transition to the MuleSoft. So Flexible Gateway is completely related to the securing your APIs.
Hi, Mohan.
Yeah.
I have one question. What are the most important skills and knowledge areas that a person should have in order to transition a career into MuleSoft?
So to transition into MuleSoft, it's good to have knowledge of Java, but it is not mandatory. And if you have experience with web services like REST, SOAP APIs, integration technologies such as ESB and middleware systems, they are valuable. And even understanding the architecture and design patterns are also highly beneficial.
Thank you.
Hi, Mohan.
Yeah.
Can you tell me any common challenges that people face when transitioning into MuleSoft, and like how can we overcome them?
Okay, so one common challenge faced by any individual making their transition to MuleSoft is lack of hands-on experience with the platform. So to overcome this, it's important to get any hands-on experience with the MuleSoft. You can build projects, you can contribute to the open source and participate in meetups or online forums and communities. So it is also important to stay up to date with the latest developments in the MuleSoft ecosystem. And also it is advised to network with other professionals in the field so that you can learn a lot of things in the MuleSoft.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you tell me like what are the benefits of working in MuleSoft? Like, is it a good choice to transition into MuleSoft?
Yeah, so working into the MuleSoft ecosystem, it provides numerous benefits, like including the opportunity to work with the cutting edge technology and to be part of the fast growing world. So MuleSoft is going day by day, and you can be part of it, and you can continuously learn and develop the new skills. So for any individual who are looking there to transition to MuleSoft, the platform provides an opportunity for them to work on the meaningful projects, so they can have any real impact on the business and also the organizations. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you, Mohan.
Mohan, I had one more question.
Yeah.
What are the most in demand job roles within the MuleSoft domain?
Okay, there are several in-demand job roles in the MuleSoft ecosystem, including MuleSoft developer, MuleSoft solutions architect, MuleSoft consultant, and even if I recall, a MuleSoft administrator. So you can begin your journey as a MuleSoft developer, and with the time, experience, and even knowledge, so you will be moving into more specialized roles such as solutions architect or consultant. Additionally, there are the certification programs that you can concentrate. It can help and it can advance your career in the MuleSoft. Yep.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, and also if you consider the job market for the MuleSoft professionals, it is very positive. Considering the scenario now. Over the past recent years, the number of job openings for the MuleSoft professionals is increasing, and this trend is might expected to now continue. Yep. Any more questions? Okay, I will take the now. If you had any questions, you can reach out to us. Okay, great. I think I have addressed all your queries. So this concludes the webinar, and you will receive an email containing a link to the this broadcast. And thank you for your time. So we hope you have learned and enjoyed this presentation. So see you soon in our next webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohan.